thought that our proposal was like a decent compromise.
We should just have a
Good evening and welcome to the April 7th regular town council meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Chairperson Phillips.
Present.
Council Sims.
Present.
Council Willis.
Present.
Council Kush.
Present.
Council Seagull.
Present.
Council Dearborn.
Present.
Council Hamblin.
Present.
We'll move on to the acceptance of the minutes for the March 3rd regular town council meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Kush. Any questions or comments, edits? All right, all those in favor? 7 yeas. And now we're going to move on to open public communications. This is a time for items, people wishing to address the council on an item not appearing on the agenda. Per our council rules, you can only do this during public comment on the agenda, and we ask that people who are wishing to address us come to the podium. I see that people understand how to do this. Please state your name and where you're from, and we'll be doing 3 minutes at this time. I also ask per our rules that persons present at the council meetings are requested not to applaud or express approval or disapproval of any statements or actions taken at the meeting. Go ahead.
Good evening. I'm Ken Curtis. I live at 118 South Street, 54-year taxpayer. With a main interest about Amazon, I have to say that my wife and I are thinking it's not a very good proposal for Gorham, not a good fit. That said, my concern is with some of the council members that seem to share an anti-Shaw Brothers. And why such negativity towards a company, a Gorham company that's had a long history of positive growth. I was motivated to do some checking. So I know the Shaw family has long ties to this community going back many, many years. They're graduates of Gorham High School, and many siblings are business owners and involved in construction. John and Danny Shaw were working hard even in high school. They started with a dump truck and a backhoe, building a business through the years that has few peers. People can go online and read about the history of Shaw Brothers and Company and their accomplishments. The company has 250 employees with over 50 who are Gorham residents. Shaw Brothers pays taxes to Gorham as of 2025 of $189,332 to be exact. Shaw Brothers also pays vehicle registrations in 2025 of $178,053, which is about $370,000. Shaw Family Trust has preserved farmland that was previously zoned for industrial development. The council's mandate is for care of existing farmland and slow down rural development. And here is a perfect example of the value and worth of Shaw Brothers. Cherry Hill Farm, saved for the future. Cherry Hill has trails that were developed by the brothers for all to use, and more are planned. What a gift for local citizens. The new buildings at the farm that they're building now will be welcomed by all. What are the values for Gorham taxpayers? Shaw Brothers was low bidders for the sewer extension on Lower Main Street. That's right, they bid, it was not given to them. And they were low builders by tens of thousands of dollars. Another help, another help for Gorham taxpayers. Mentioning that, what about the gift of the new tennis court at the high school? Another big savings. Further information, all bids are sealed and opened in order that they are received, with company representatives in attendance. No secrets, open to all to see the contracts. Shaw Brothers also supports many local organizations, girls sports teams for an example. Many local companies supply products to Shaw Brothers. Also, other companies have provided work by Shaw Brothers. So I asked if I could tour the facilities on Mosier Road. A company employee gave me a tour. I didn't tour the crushing operations, but learned that when the crusher and conveyor belts are
Mr.
operating...
Curtis? Mr.
they are-
Curtis, could you finish up your comments? You've had 3 minutes.
Okay, yeah. One of our council members called Maine DOT for a mineral extracting company that he could compare to Shaw Brothers, and the DOT told him to look in his own backyard. Final, excuse me, all council members are elected to represent all Gorham citizens, not a section of town, not a single theme. So I ask you, as I have in the past, recheck your promises to Gorham taxpayers when you ran for council. Be strong, be good stewards of our finance, and God bless America.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All set? Yeah. Okay. Hi, I'm Ann Bilodeau, and I live on Shamrock Drive, and I'm here again tonight, as I've been at the past couple of meetings, to talk about the Amazon proposal in Gorham. I'm sure many of you have heard by now that since your last council meeting, Amazon has proposed 2 more warehouse locations in Maine, one in the Bangor area and one in the Waterville area. The site in the Waterville area is less than half a mile from Interstate 95, and the site in Bangor is also close to Interstate 95, something they don't share in common with the proposal here in Gorham. Neither of these locations abut residential areas. Both of them have easy access back to the highway for their trucks and their delivery vans, and they're being proposed in areas a lot more suited for industrial development than this proposal in Gorham. While they both have large traffic values associated with them, they will not be directly affecting nearby homes or centers of towns. Speaking of the high traffic, I wonder if you've all have had a chance to review the plan that Amazon has submitted now to the town of Gorham to review. One of the charts they provided that they labeled Table 1, the Maine DOT trip generation, is truly scary. On an average weekday, they provided or estimated that 3,000 total trips coming in and out of that warehouse, and on a Saturday, that drops slightly to 2,700, and they don't even mention Sundays. I can't imagine how Main Street is going to handle that volume. I mean, they state they're going to avoid busy hours. How can they do that and maintain the productivity that you know they will demand from this site? We all know Amazon has fine-tuned their business practice and their metrics to maximize their profit, and they will do whatever it takes to meet their profit goals. People think that this will bring tax relief to Gorham residents and provide jobs to spur economic growth. I gotta tell you, the tax relief is almost laughable. A warehouse and a huge parking lot do not bring enough taxable value to offer significant tax relief to residents. And if you don't believe me, please check with your town assessors, please check with your finance people. They can verify that. And as for the jobs, Amazon continues to expand use of robotics in their warehouses. They're saying this facility will bring approximately 175 jobs to the area, but they have not answered questions about how many of those are full-time versus part-time or seasonal. And also their delivery drivers are not even considered employees. They're independents or entrepreneurs, as they called them recently. They get paid by the delivery, not by the hour, and they're not eligible for any benefits that Amazon may or may not offer. So this operation, I feel, is in a bad location, and it's bad business for Gorham. It's not the right location for this type of operation. This site should be in a similar site to the ones proposed in Bangor and Waterville. Should be closer to the turnpike in an area with other industrial businesses. It should not abut nice neighborhoods. It should not be located within a mile of an elementary school, and it should not be located on a secondary road and overburden the already congested traffic on that road. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Barbara DeVoe. I live on Shamrock Drive also. I'm really not here to represent Shamrock Drive. I'm here to represent the community here of Gorham. Last month's town council meeting may have been very frustrated to you as council members, but it demonstrated just how concerning the Amazon project is to residents of Gorham and neighboring communities. The standing room only attendance clearly demonstrates that residents are thirsty for more information and have been left out of the process from the start, despite the assurance that there would be many opportunities to provide input. In January,
Abutting residents were invited to a public meeting, following the planning board presentation, to submit concerns and questions to the Blue Water Group and Sebago Technics as required by DEP application. Copious handwritten, non-recorded notes were taken during this meeting. However, there's been no follow-up, even despite prompting from the attendees there. The meeting did nothing more than reiterate aspects of the planning process. Since the last town council meeting, Blue Water Group and Sebago Technics met with Gorham Economic Development Corporation and Aspire to review the Amazon project, which introduced new information specifically about business strategies that were coming up. The community did not know any of these, about any of these meetings, or the intent of them. On December 23rd, select residents received certified letters regarding proposed traffic movement permit, estimating increased volume during peak hours of operation. Subsequently, select residents again received another certified letter on 3/27/26, increasing traffic movement up to 9% and 7% overall. It is our understanding this will be presented to the DOT's intent to file. We are consistently seeing a moving target here, which does not match the application to the town. If we cannot trust the content of the application parameters and the numbers we see now, how do we expect Amazon to adhere to town ordinances, and who's going to be the gatekeeper to hold them accountable? As an example, we are currently seeing local traffic being pushed to secondary roads currently that parallel Main Street during this construction project that will inevitably continue as traffic increases. I will close by saying emphatically that the town of Gorham is at a critical juncture now. We have residents who want to be a part of the solution, not part of the problem. How does this meet the town of Gorham goals while remaining a supportive environment for small businesses? Let's not have regrets when we view this decision in the rearview mirror. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Dennis Morton, and I'm now an advocate for maintenance and repair of our cemeteries. I'm also was on an advisory committee, and I'm not sure if I still am, because we spent a year reviewing the condition of the cemeteries in the town of Gorham, and had a meeting and told Terry Deeren that if we could get $45,000, we could get 3 of the cemeteries halfway back up to where they need to be. And he said he didn't have any money in the budget. So we had a second meeting. Actually, one of our members came and spoke here, and we had a workshop where we had Kelly come, and she thought we might be able to get $5,000. To give you folks an idea of how bad the situation is, Easton Cemetery has over 100 stones that are laying on their face or near to it. Benjamin Franklin said, if you want to know a community, look at their cemeteries. By the condition of the cemeteries, they'll tell you who is buried there, but also who is still alive and living in the community. We need to, I'm coming tonight to ask for $45,000 to be added to Terry Deeren's budget. The previous administration left our town manager and our public works with a terrible situation. They would tell people that the stones that are laying down, the stones that are in those cemeteries are private property and we can't touch them. That we're supposed to go to the family and have the family provide the money and repair of the stones. And what I would do is challenge whoever thinks the craziest idea that those stones are private property once they're put in that cemetery. it would cost us more to go out and try to find the ancestors of somebody who was buried in 1820 than it would be to fix it ourselves and pay for it by the town. You know, right now, there is a state law that says any veteran, a Revolutionary War veteran or family that are buried in an ancient burial site, that it is the responsibility of the town to repair that stone and to put it back on its foundation. Some of the stones have been run over by kids who drive lawnmowers that mow the cemeteries, and it's going to get to a point where some of them you can't even read who's buried there. I was a kid pushing a lawnmower back in the 60s in this same town, being paid to mow the cemetery. And I can remember knocking a stone over and how embarrassed and scared I was that I was in trouble. We need to step up and take our responsibility and provide Terry with the resources and the funds he needs to fix these stones. Would one of you please get back to me and say, we want to work on this, we want to help you, and we're going to fund it the way we should be doing it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Josh Trombley. I live on Little River Drive in Gorham, Maine. I'm here to talk about the Amazon project. I know you've heard plenty from me before. You'll notice that there are far fewer of us here this evening to talk about Amazon. That's a choice that we made as an organization. We were told that you all were here until pretty late that night. We wanted to cut you a break this month. Depending on how things go with the planning board, it might not last, but this is what we decided to do. So instead, I'd like to read you, we've received hundreds of comments from other members of the Gorham community about this project. So I'd like to read you some of those statements. I'll keep it to 3 minutes. If I read all of them, I'd be here for over an hour for sure. Judith Wiseman is worried about too much heavy vehicle traffic, which will damage the roadbed, increase noise, increased risk to pedestrians, and the need to widen the road and damage fragile ecosystems. Emily Johnson is concerned about negative environmental impact, worse traffic and road safety, harm to local businesses, and strain on existing infrastructure, not designed for industrial traffic. Emily Drake says it would overburden our town, strain electrical and water supply, increase traffic issues, overpopulate our already overpopulated schools, and not gain enough taxes to benefit the residents who are already overtaxed. Aaron Witten says Amazon is an industrial energy hog. Furthermore, their corporate tax strategy limits the local taxes they pay. And they're boasting about how their AI implementations have limited the number of human workers they need. Maria Stelk says it will make an already super congested road corridor even more congested and will inevitably result in road widening. The negative impacts to Gorham's way of life would be significant and aren't outweighed by any property tax benefits. Bridget Kane says the deal sets a terrible precedent for a town in Maine committed to maintaining and developing high quality of life for its residents. Instead, it suggests we are willing to offer up valuable land for grabs at a minimal, poorly negotiated cost to a multinational company with a poor track record for social, environmental, and ethical concerns. Gorham deserves better. Joe Robinson says, I question whether a distribution center is the best use of this land. From what I've read about the deal, the negative impact to traffic and the environment would be significant. If the town is looking to increase its tax base, I think there are other avenues that should be considered before making business deals with multi-trillion-dollar conglomerates that don't have the best interest of the town's citizens at heart. Pamela Fournier says the infrastructure to support that kind of traffic isn't in place. The facility is on a two-lane road which feeds into more two-lane roads with no highway access close by. I see I'm out of time, but there are many more, so we'll be back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is David Jones. I'm a Republican candidate for governor. I'm here tonight as a concerned citizen. It's not about the Amazon project. I was here this weekend on Saturday. I spent my Saturday, the good part of my Saturday, witnessing something that I just found it hard to believe that the people of Gorham wanted to see. They had a storybook session for children read by a drag queen. And I'm almost embarrassed to say the name of the person that was putting it in, but I think I have to. The person's name that was reading the storybooks to children was Let a Dick In, right? Now, you know, I've got 6 children of my own. I wouldn't want them to ever have seen what was going on there in the library. I have 8 grandchildren that are entering school systems, and I talked to a lot of parents that day who were pretty upset. It was a complete waste of resource. We had 4 cruisers there, police cruisers. The people that were having the event were getting violent, cursing, swearing, children in the room. It was unbelievable, the things that they were saying, and shoving some of the people that were there just trying to get in the room. It was advertised as a public event. I was not allowed to go in. And they said, if you want to go in, you have to have a child with you. That's not that it was branded on it when they put it out for people to come. So there were several other people who were concerned citizens here in the town, and they were not allowed. Now, this is a public library, taxpayer funded. The employees there are paid by the taxpayers here, your constituents that you represent. Did you get their permission to have an event like that here? I'm sure if you put this in front of the public, you would have got an overwhelmingly no. Now, not only did they not charge anything for these people to be there, they gave it to them for free. And they would not allow card-carrying members of the library into the room. So I saw this. I couldn't believe what I saw. It really turned my stomach. It's your responsibility to stand up for what your constituents want. And judging from what I saw there Saturday, there were quite a few people who were taxpayers here that have been taxpayers. I think one of them was Spiller. They've been here for quite some time. Dustin had a conversation with him. He didn't want to see it. So I'm asking this, and I'm going to say, would you please make sure that events like this never, ever happen again? This should not be in the light of day in a place where children are. It shouldn't be a taxpayer-funded opportunity. And I only pray to God that you guys are listening to what I say here tonight and what the people that I heard at that event want to see done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello. My name is Eilish Carpenter, and I'm here in my role with Cumberland County Public Health as a substance use prevention specialist, speaking in regard to the action to consider authorizing the transfer of $5,000 to Gorham Action Team for Youth, or GATI.
So actually, that's an agenda item. That's something that's on the agenda. So when we get to that piece, we will ask for public comment during that item. So thank you. Any other?
Good evening. I'm Carol Mulker of Lawn Avenue, returning to this council with more reasons for an investigation and a hearing on the town's policy of not enforcing your stormwater law and the resulting flooding and pollution of entire neighborhoods. At your November 1st meeting, I laid out a lot of facts about man-made flooding and asked if any were disputed. No fact was disputed, so here are 3 more. Number 1, enforcement of your stormwater law isn't just required by your law, it's also required by Gorham's building permits. These are the permitted plans for Ward Hill and Snowbird housing developments. Which abut Lawn Avenue. They contain Gorham's standard conditions of approval, such as the condo association, quote, is responsible for compliance with Gorham's stormwater ordinance and is responsible for maintenance and yearly inspection of stormwater infrastructure because this project is required to meet the requirements of the town's stormwater ordinance. Down there. Required by whom? So far, by nobody. Number two, we know who's supposed to require compliance because they're named on the face of the permit. The code officer, town planner, town engineer, public works director have to meet with every developer to ensure compliance under permit condition number 11. They are the same mandatory enforcers named at page 5 of your stormwater law. They all know from your law, from the building permits, and from multiple meetings every year that stormwater enforcement is their job. They just won't do it. Number three, if you ever thought mandatory enforcement was too strict, you alone could have rolled that back. The town charter empowers you to eliminate mandatory enforcement as long as you do it with public notice, a hearing, and a vote. Instead of rolling it back, you only added stricter enforcement language with your hearing and vote in September 2023. So you recommitted to mandatory enforcement very recently and have made no legal changes to your ordinance since then. Again, if you see any error in these facts, you should come back with your own facts on the record, just like I'm doing tonight. Otherwise, you should investigate the misconduct of your law enforcers who refuse to enforce your law. I'm almost done. Recently, your agenda stated that you firmly support the rule of law. My neighbors and I would love to see that.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Catherine Atwood, representing my mailing address again, 293 North Gorham Road. This time I brought a laptop instead of a phone. It's apparently even more believable, but everything I'm saying is the truth. Okay. I'm here to outline a number of very serious environmental concerns, specifically with the application as submitted by Amazon, the town application and their application for a site plan permit to the DEP. I have reviewed those applications, and there are multiple grave material deficiencies in what they've submitted, subject to allow it to even be denied at that stage. Also with the town ordinances. Just to outline a couple of them, they failed to have a proper delineation done by the Maine Natural Areas Program and the Maine Department of Inland Wildlife. Can't ever get that one right. There's so many acronyms that are happening here. Okay, the one with the wildlife. And they submitted to the town Exhibit 7 that says there are no mapped or documented rare natural features on there. That is a documentation issue. That does not mean that there are no rare natural features on there. If you go further into their application, there's actually a very comprehensive survey from Flycatcher that outlines 8 wetlands of special significance and 18 wetlands in total. Those wetlands have very serious protections that are required by the DEP. I've talked to, since the Maine Natural Areas Program, which is beginning a formal investigation into this. I also talked to the Maine Department of Inland Wildlife Fisheries, which I seriously hope someone will correct me on what the actual thing is. The cooling system is really working in the back, so I got very cold sitting there. So that's a point for something that's going well in the town. And so when I talked to the wetland program overseer, he told a very interesting anecdote about a town locally that approved a wetland project without having their proper delineation done. It was a local solar farm. They thought that the town had the ability to approve these. What actually happened is someone tipped the DEP off a couple years into the build. They have illegally built over their wetlands of special significance. They will never get permits to operate this. They're actually being remanded to dismantle the entire facility. So what we have here in this parcel, 8 wetlands of special significance, 2 significant vernal pools that have very serious protections that are allotted to them without a functional analysis that's required by the state. honestly, the town is setting itself up for months and months of serious environmental law. And I hate to be the one to say being tipped off by someone like me. So I really encourage the town to very seriously consider rejecting this, or to prepare yourself for months and months of looking into the proper surveying that's required. I feel like this is like someone said that there was a beehive with cash inside or honey, and it's actually a hornet's nest of very serious environmental issues that the town is sticking its hand in for like very, very little tax benefit. If this were rezoned for mixed-use development, the opportunity to really remediate the wetland issues raises exponentially. You can have a very properly outlined mixed-use development that doesn't have a 1,000-car parking lot. It's like 3 football fields of impervious ground cover next to a series of wetlands, and it's really bad, to use a legal term. It's like really terrible. So,
Ms. Atwood, you've
Thanks.
actually had your 3 minutes.
okay, all right, thank you. I'll just say thanks so much to the council, and shout out to the Gaddy item if I can't stay. I think that's amazing, and I really appreciate your work with that.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? All right, we'll close open public communications. And we'll move on to councilor comments. And I'll start with Councilor Kush.
Thanks. I have nothing to report this evening, thank you.
Councilor Hamblin?
So I'm getting old, and as I get older, I don't like to be stressed. And I just keep hearing about Amazon. So I went and dug in, trying to understand why Amazon might come to Gorham. And if you bear with me for a couple of minutes, I just pulled some numbers I'd like to share. And I'll take my glasses off because I'm getting old. So there's 3 points I like to offer, and I like numbers. So Walmart had $600 billion of sales last year, and Amazon close behind with $500 billion. These are the 2 largest retailers in the world. To catch Walmart, Amazon has initiated a $4 billion rural delivery upgrade, currently with 200 rural delivery warehouses, which reduce delivery times from 4 days to 2. And I believe that's what they're proposing to do in Gorham. The biggest obstacle to the Amazon plan, Walmart. 90% of Americans live within 10 miles of Walmart. Amazon currently pays the post office $2 per delivery, UPS and FedEx $4, and a $16.50 surcharge for rural deliveries. Amazon pays $1.50 per package for delivery by independent contractors. Amazon distribution is clearly cheaper than the alternatives. Therefore, new rural warehouses. Amazon is currently working on 4 distributions in Maine, as previously said by somebody from the public. What happens in the future if they decide they only need 2 or 3? What happens in Gorham? What happens if they close? Point number 2, Amazon will provide jobs. People keep telling me we need jobs. Amazon will provide jobs. 3 Gorham companies currently advertise on TV for workers. Many employers have a help wanted sign out front. Do we really need more jobs? If Amazon moves forward, they've indicated 175 new jobs. Does that create increased competition for current employers? Will that impact local business? Today, Amazon delivers a vast number of packages to Maine, delivered by independent contractors, the Postal Service, UPS, and FedEx. Amazon will do this cheaper by building their own distribution centers and paying lower salaries. UPS, the Postal Service, and FedEx pay well more than $17 per hour Amazon pays in Caribou. As Amazon hires, it will mean fewer jobs at the Postal Service, UPS, FedEx, and Walmart in Maine. Same amount of jobs, just lower pay. And last, Gorham borrowed $5.9 million in 2020 to purchase 140 acres on Main Street. The northern parcel is under contract with Amazon. The southern parcel has 5 lots, 2 of which have been sold for $1.5 million, and there are 3 lots still available for sale. Currently, the town owns $4.9 million in principal and interest on a 20-year note. The 2019 Town Council made a good faith effort to expand the industrial tax base. COVID changed the world, and Gorham taxpayers have paid the price. Since 2020, Gorham has received no property taxes on this land. Interest will be $1 million paid regardless of when principal is repaid. The land should be sold to reduce property taxes, no question. Amazon has a reputation for closing warehouses. If Amazon builds, then leaves, what does that leave Gorham? A big empty warehouse with limited options. Is this good for the long-term future of Gorham? This needs to be answered before the sale is finalized. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Willis?
Excuse me, I've just got 2 reminders of upcoming events. Gorham Cleans Up will be happening Saturday, April 26, 8:30, meeting right here in the Municipal Center parking lot, and sign up is now available via the Gorham Conservation Commission Facebook page. And then also a reminder, Friends of Baxter Memorial Library will be holding their spring book sale. That's May 1st from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and May 2nd from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilor Siegel?
Thank you very much. 3 notes here. The first one is, if you weren't aware, the library has free tickets to the USM Planetarium. It's great. They're great shows. It's a fun thing to do, especially if you have kids. They have shows for kids as well. So highly suggest it. You just go in there and then ask, and they can give you all the details in the pass. That's the first thing. The second is happy Passover to everyone celebrating. I've been eating a heck of a lot of matzah, and I'm looking forward to it ending. And a third note, just as a general PSA, I am indeed running for state representative. So just to make sure it's heard from the source. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilor Dearborn?
The Gorham Historical Society is having its annual open house May 3rd, 3:30 at the barn.
Thank you. Councilor Sims?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I did actually have a couple comments this time. I wanted to report out on the Gorham Economic Development Corporation meeting that I attended last month. The meeting did include 2 representatives of the Amazon plan for the warehouse on Main Street. I think it's worth noting that neither of those representatives are actual employees of the Amazon Corporation, and that's kind of indicative of what we've heard from some other people here. Some of the stuff we learned was not particularly encouraging, particularly in how Amazon approaches their staff. They minimize full-time employees. They instead lean on part-time workers, seasonal workers, independent contractors. Also, they can avoid paying benefits that could create better jobs for the community. And there's multiple publications reporting Amazon's approach with this approach towards workers. And, these, particularly with the drivers, this really results in some pretty negative financial outcomes for these folks. So the idea that these are going to be good jobs for our community is, it's hopeful at best. So, Gorham Economic Development Corporation members pressed the consultants there, asking them as to whether the Amazon trucks would pay to the town of Gorham to register the vehicles. Obviously, we're trying to get whatever revenue we can. The Amazon consultant there, she was quite non-committal in her response to that. So I would not count on that revenue coming in. And it's just really important to understand Amazon is an enormous corporate financial efficiency machine. And they are hyper-focused on reducing costs, no matter the consequences for the local people impacted by their calculations. And one of those costs is municipal property taxes. Amazon's profitability depends on the company paying the absolute lowest tax bills possible. So the idea that we're going to score a big windfall here is again, just highly unlikely. And I can point you to numerous articles and evidence from other communities who have learned this lesson the hard way. So, I think Amazon needs to know that the town of Gorham is not here to be exploited, and the people of Gorham will not be exploited by Amazon's corporate greed. I firmly support Gorham workers' rights to unionize any facility that Amazon might build here, and Amazon must know that if they want to come to Gorham, we demand quality jobs with benefits and competitive pay for our people. Thank you.
Thank you. I just have a few things to report. That the second annual Jane's Walk, put on by the GBA, the Historical Society, Portland Landmarks, will be Saturday, May 2nd, I believe at 1 p.m., but it's going to be at USM, so the tour will be at USM this year. And then the Gorham Taste Walk is Sunday, June 7th, so I figured I'd get the word out about that. I did have the opportunity to meet with the Consulate General of Boston. He was up here in Maine on March 16th, and he asked to meet with us regarding the Horace Wilson Memorial Field. He's been working on that committee with me, and we've been planning a lot of events. Cindy Hazelton's also on that committee. We're planning some events with the Sea Dogs, with the Red Sox, and then we're going to do a tournament style play for younger kids up at the Little Falls Rec area at the Horace Wilson Memorial Field sometime in late August. So we'll be putting together some events to kind of kick off and dedicate the field. And I think we're going to be doing flags, flag poles, and things like that. So there's also going to be a Japan Day at the Sea Dogs. So I'll give you more information as I get it. We'll move on to the town manager's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. No particular order. Reminder, road postings have been lifted, although I guess winter hasn't left as of today, but we're getting there. An updated street sweeping schedule and estimated timeline is available on the Public Works Department website. Just a reminder, that's very weather and equipment dependent. So a street sweeper is a very finicky piece of equipment that can often break down, especially as it ages. The council is aware the municipal budget was released today. The council has a workshop on the municipal budget this coming Saturday starting at 9, usually a great event. The public is welcome to attend. Then there's a joint workshop with the school committee on the 28th, followed by the council will vote on that the school committee budget as well as the municipal budget. We opened bids for South Street sidewalk work today. That's a joint PACS project. The bids were very favorable. That will be on the westerly side of South Street from Morrill Ave down into Running Springs Road. And we're optimistic we'll be able to include pedestrian lighting like the rest of South Street in that project. Main Street sewer extension and sidewalk project at Mosher's Corner are on schedule and moving right along, and we appreciate the public working with us around the traffic and the construction while that takes place. Haven't forgotten about Roby Park. Staff are working with the contractor when the weather cooperates on getting some fine tuning, some concrete work, plantings, and then the rubberized playing surface installed. Municipal buildings will be closed on April 20th for Patriots Day. I added tonight, and I think this is often overlooked, and we're going to push it on Facebook and the other media forums, but there is a subscribe section on our website where individuals can sign up for not just every email in the town, but a specific issue, topic, or not issue, but a board or committee, council, planning board, various subcommittees and departments to get email updates, and I highly encourage residents to take advantage of that. Lastly, I do want to take a second to thank all of our municipal staff, particularly the Baxter Memorial Library. This time of year is pressing on a lot of the municipal workforce, as is the public. I think we're all looking forward to spring, but it's an often taxing and thankless job at times for some of the municipal staff, so I just want to recognize them this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And next up is the school committee report.
Hi there, Nicole Yo Fisher, School Committee Chair. You have a lengthy report tonight, so I'll do the Reader's Digest version of it. The school committee will be voting on our proposed FY27 school budget tomorrow night. After approvals, budget booklets will be delivered to the town manager on April 15th. You all will get digital copies of that. If you want a physical paper version of the budget, just let Superintendent Perry know, and she can get you that. As Ephraim mentioned, on April 28th, we have a joint budget workshop with the Town Council. On May 12th, the Town Council votes on the proposed budget, and then June 9th is the referendum vote. Superintendent Perry will be hosting an open forum on the school budget on April 15th at 6 p.m. at Baxter Memorial Library, and then again on May 11th at the North Gorham Library. The flyers are available on social media for additional details. All are welcome. Just a note, the governor's proposed, if the governor's proposed budget passes, there are 3 key items that will impact schools. The budget maintains a 55% EPS funding for the state, a $50,000 $100,000 minimum teacher salary requirement, which will be implemented in a phased process, and a statewide bell-to-bell cell phone ban for all public schools. A required cell phone policy must be in place by August 1st of 2026. There are a few other legislative bills that are moving through the legislature. LD 2175, which talks about certification rules. LD 2159 requires front safety arms on all school buses. LD 2226 updates the EPS funding formula for FY28. LD 2192 requires school units to complete investigations into certain employee matters. And LD 1892 proposes enhancements to the school construction funding, including creation of an accelerator program for small-scale projects. We should know more about these bills mid to late April, so more updates to come. And then a large section of the report is just some upcoming activities for the high school, middle school, and all three of our elementary schools. A brief summary of key end-of-year activities. So spring sport practices are underway with games to begin soon if the snow stops snowing. So please check the athletics website for schedules and opportunities to attend. The all-band concert was tonight, hence why there's probably a lot of parking there. And the all-chorus concert will be held on Tuesday the 14th at the high school at 6 p.m. This event is open to the public. We have also recently launched a new chatbot on the district website, so please meet Ramsey the Ram. Ramsey appears at the bottom corner of the website and can assist with general questions. And in closing, we would like to recognize our assistant principals during National Assistant Principals Week. These individuals play a critical role in supporting our students and ensuring schools operate smoothly. So thank you to Deanna Iten from that is wrong. That should say Great Falls and not Gorham Farms. Sean Hansen, Narragansett, Jennifer Baker Village, Vanessa Nickerson, Gorham Middle School, Mark Sawyer, Gorham High School, and Christina Schiffelli for Gorham High School.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Yeah.
I've seen recently in the news that Gorham High School students have won a couple of congressional awards. There was the Congressional App Challenge, and there was recently I saw a Congressional Art Award. Can you or the superintendent speak to this? Just to.
Oh, yes. If folks want to learn more, we definitely put all of that out on social media to recognize those students. But you are right, Councillor Siegel.
Fantastic. I mean, it's just this is. Our federal Congress person, and so that would be all of the state of Maine. And so for Gorham to have two students in 1 year both receive congressional awards is quite exciting.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
We're very proud.
Yeah. And then I also just want to take this opportunity to say, as a classroom teacher, I'm very excited for this bell-to-bell cell phone ban. That's all.
Great. Thank you.
Any other questions? Go ahead.
Just a quick moment to mention for anybody watching this meeting that maybe doesn't receive the superintendent's blog, we did a recent roundtable with 2 members of the school committee, myself, the superintendent, and 2 members of the public. And so I think the first part is out and the second part is coming out in 2 weeks. So you could check out, is it also on your website? Also on the school's website. So a good way to kind of hear and see about what's happening with the budget process as it plays out over the next month.
Yes, great plug, Councillor Willis. Thank you.
Councillor Kush, go ahead.
2 comments. One, shout out to the robotics team. I believe they're headed to regionals. And because we have a vacation later this month, the workshop for school committee is at Great Falls School on the last Wednesday of this month.
Yes, you are correct.
Thank you.
Councillor Sims, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I did actually have just a question and maybe something of thought for us to carry forward when we have our next joint meeting, which I'm very much looking forward to. I've seen some news stories recently about other school districts in southern Maine having some struggles with the budgets this year and considering having to potentially shut down facilities. And I think one thing that I'd like to take a closer look at in the future is, I think we've kind of maybe had this assumption here that more kids means higher taxes. and maybe there's this kind of like a corollary assumption, less kids must mean our taxes will go down. I think that's a very dangerous assumption to make, and I would say generally it's probably not accurate at all. And in many cases, your taxes might go up more if we have a school population that's very much inconsistent with our facilities, our capacity. So not to put you on the spot now, but I think that's just something I'd like us to look at moving forward, because I think that's something to really make sure the public understands.
Yeah, sure. We can absolutely do that.
Thanks.
Thanks, Councilor Sims.
Any other questions, comments? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Public hearing number 1 on item 2026 4-1. Public hearing to hear comments on a proposal to issue a renewal massage license to Heather Terrialt and a new massage license to Mallory Parks, administrative sponsor.
Hearing number 1 is now open. If anyone wants to speak on this item, please come to the podium. All right, seeing no one, the public hearing is closed.
Proposed order 26-37, order that the town council issue a renewal massage license to Heather Terrialt and a new massage license to Mallory Parks.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Hamblin. Obviously, we have all the documentation information. This is kind of just a formality at this point, but if anybody has any questions.
Sorry. Thank you, Chair Phillips. Through you to the town manager. Do other towns do this? Is this a common? I've wondered.
Thank you. I'm going to be honest, I don't know, but I can find out and report back to the council on that.
Thank you. Cool. Thank you.
Just a question. Does the town council approve the massage thing? Is that your question, or?
Sorry. My question is: do other towns have local massage licenses? Because there is also a state license.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right, any other questions, comments? All right, all those in favor? 7 yeas.
Public hearing number 2 on item 2026 4-2, public hearing to hear comments on a proposal to amend the Land Use and Development Code to create a sewer impact fee for parts of Main Street, administrative sponsor.
All right, public hearing number 2 is now open. If anybody has any comments, please come to the podium. Seeing no one, the public hearing is closed.
Proposed order 26-38, order that the town council amend the Land Use and Development Code to create a sewer impact fee for parts of Main Street as follows.
Motion to waive the reading due to length.
All right, is there a second? Second by Councilor Sims. All those in favor of waiving the reading due to length? 7 yeas. Now do we have a motion on the item?
So moved.
Councilor Siegel. Is there a second? Councilor Hamblin?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think the council is aware of this, but for the public, this impact fee and impact fees like it allow a municipality to recoup the cost of the infrastructure investment. Specifically, you can do this for sewer and water extensions. The town did this a while ago for the Fort Hill water extension back in probably the mid-2000s. So the concept, as facilities and or residential units attached to this system, they'll be charged an impact fee according to the structure that can recoup up to the cost of everything associated with that construction, design, administrative fees associated with this sewer extension. We have impact fees for other things in town, like recreational impact fee, open space impact fee, but in this specific case, it's for a specific project in a future capacity. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? Councilor Siegel, go ahead.
Thank you. So the way this works out, if all of if the whole area ends up getting filled and developed, would this fully cover the roughly 2.2 million that it would cost?
Thank you. There's no guarantee that it would fully cover everything. It allows us to cover or to collect up to that amount that we have invested based on the schedule. And it's based on gallonage. So if you have a large user that connects to the system, there's more of an impact fee versus a small multi-unit apartment or something may not Well, it depends, but it may not use as much as a large user.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Hamlin?
Just one question. How did we come up with the fees? Are we comfortable they're high enough?
Thank you. I believe staff and an attorney worked on that. Can I get a nod? Yeah. So with an impact fee, there has to be a pretty comprehensive legal review as well as an analysis done behind the scenes to back up the cost. So it's calculated on our investment as a municipality and then capturing that investment over, I think, 20 years. So I think the answer is probably just no, unfortunately, but they have to be backed up with that analysis to stand up against claims that we're unjustly collecting the fee.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, all those in favor? 7 yeas.
Public hearing number 3 on item 2025-10-13. Public hearing to hear comments on proposal to amend the fire suppression system ordinance to allow for 1- and 2-family unit exemptions based on minimum lot size and distance from fire suppression water sources, and adoption of the attached residential sprinkle in lieu fee program policy ordinance committee sponsored.
All right, public hearing number 3 is now open. If anyone would like to speak on this item, please come to the podium.
Good evening. My name is Aaron Chadbourne. I am the broker owner of Demetria Real Estate on Main Street here in Gorham. I am the immediate past president of the Greater Portland Board of Realtors. And I think I was here in 2018 when the council first passed the fire suppression ordinance to speak in opposition to the ordinance under the concern that it would increase the cost of housing, which I think we've all seen. And this is not the only thing that has increased the cost of housing, but we've seen a lot of regulatory impacts on the cost of housing, and there's an affordability crisis in housing. So I think a lot of us in the real estate industry were quite excited when we heard that the town of Gorham was looking into some or any exemption from the fire suppression system ordinance, in particularly a standalone single-family home or duplex. I think we were all disappointed when we saw it come back as not an exemption, but rather a fee, as fees do still contribute to increased cost of housing. We do appreciate that the ordinance committee worked to make its proposal lesser than what was originally proposed to the ordinance committee, and we thank you for taking the feedback. But on behalf of myself and several of my colleagues in the real estate industry, we would still prefer to see an exemption for any of the housing. We do not believe that the cost of the suppression system is commensurate with the benefit, and we do believe that when they're in individual single homes, that the homeowner does have the ability to make a decision whether this is the mitigation they want to invest in. There are other things that they can choose to spend money on, such as smoke detectors and fire alarms, particularly the hardwired ones that communicate with each other, which are proven to be quite effective in giving people more time to exit in the event of a fire. So we would prefer to go with the council's original route of an actual exemption and have no fee. If the council does wish to impose a new fee, which we would prefer not to see, we would just encourage you to keep it as small as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. And I guess I failed to mention, we're just going to keep it a couple minutes, so, but go ahead. Yep, go ahead. No, I just forgot to mention that we're going to keep it to like 3 minutes and
That's
stuff for
okay.
comments. Go ahead.
I'm not going to talk very long. My name is Susan Roby, and I live at 34 Roby Street. And I would like to ask the council to consider including existing buildings that are or could become office residential space as eligible to this provision for proposed sprinkle ordinance that allows in lieu payments. I guess they consider the proximity to fire hydrants as well. And the reason I'm saying that is that there are many buildings in Gorham that are really extremely difficult because of their construction to put in retroactively sprinkler systems. And these buildings are some used for office space now, some are used for residential, but are in a zone that allows residential office space, and that it would be of benefit to the town to do this because it will bring in more tax dollars. It will also possibly increase the number of apartments that are available in our housing crisis. And that's what I was asking you to consider, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Any other questions, public comment? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing.
Proposed Order 26-39, order that the Town Council amend the fire suppression system ordinance to allow for 1- and 2-family units in lieu fees for units not part of subdivisions and adoption of the residential sprinkler in lieu fee program policy as follows.
Motion to waive the reading due to the length.
Is there a second? Second by Counselor Sims. All right, all those in favor of waiving the reading due to the length? 7 yeas. Now can we have an open motion on the item?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Counselor Sims.
Sure, yes.
I was going to say,
yeah.
whoever wants to.
Yeah, yes. As ordinance committee chair, I'll speak to it in what I'll try to do the most even explanation as I can, and I will look to my fellow counselors on the committee with me to check me on that. So we have been looking at this ordinance for months and months, and we have reached a final conclusion of adding a fee in lieu of sprinkler systems for single-family homes and duplexes, and keeping the sprinkler requirement for subdivisions, and as well as increasing the exemption that we have to make it similar in line with our accessory dwelling unit numbers of 800 square feet or less. The fees would specifically go to help out the fire department, and we also built the fee structure in so that it's based off of square footage. So the smaller the building, the less you would have to pay in fee. And then lastly, I do want to state that even if we were to remove our entire sprinkler ordinance, there are state rules and federal rules that determine certain things being sprinkled that we have kind of no say over. And a lot of that ends up being in the commercial and multi-unit space. Is there, if you don't mind, Chair, I'll just make sure, the counselor, is there anything that I missed?
No.
Okay. We can also take questions and, but also just discuss. Thank you.
I'm going to ask the town manager, do you have anything to add to that, or are you going to?
Thank you. No, I think that's a pretty simple analysis of what the committee discussed, and the only thing I would add that we did receive legal guidance that the fee should be in the ballpark of a cost of a similar system. And again, you're dealing with a lot of complexities, different systems and averages. So I think that's something the committee struggled with, and I'm sure the council will probably look at as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, one point of order, just a question. To that point there around the fee structure, that the language in the agenda does not include the fee structure. Is that so we're not voting on the fee structure, or?
Thank you. You can. So you have an ordinance, and then there's a policy that has a fee structure.
Yeah.
The policy that has a fee structure is similar to a lot of your other policies as the council. The council can adjust fees throughout the reason we don't put it in the ordinance is it's more difficult to amend the ordinance than if the council just wants to adjust a fee 2 or 3 years from now. So should you wish to look at the fee and change that, I would just have the order reflect that you made the change in the policy.
Okay. So we'll presumably, if we were to support it tonight, we would proceed with the fee structure that's in the policy there.
Yeah, so the order adopts the policy.
Yeah.
But if you want to change that, just make note of it. Thank you.
Yeah. If I could, I just, share in my perspective. I mean, we've been discussing this at a number of ordinance committee meetings. It's obviously a onerous requirement that is, in a lot of respects seems unreasonable. I think on the town side of this, I do think there is a real legitimate, issue of like, the further out all the housing gets built, the more expensive it becomes for us to service all of the housing and all the potential fire safety issues. So, I think folks, they might think that their property taxes are covering the costs of servicing their house, but they're not. They're not even close. So, that's a challenge. We have to figure out a way how to address that. And these fees aren't going to solve that problem. But and I at this point, the overall fire suppression ordinance as it's written there's a whole bunch of pieces to it. It's very complicated. There's things that they change in the land use code after they put in this piece about adding the all new single family home builds. I'm concerned, particularly when it comes to the housing crisis. I'm just as concerned about some of the additional requirements in our sprinkler ordinance for multi-units that are greater than the state requirements. So if we really want to get rid of this because of housing affordability, we're not going to solve housing affordability with single-family homes. We have to figure out a way to make it more affordable to build multi-units, particularly in and around the village. So, at this point for me, I feel like we need to keep looking at this ordinance, and I'd be of the mind to just, I definitely want us to at least consider removing the ordinance completely, not just an exemption for single-family homes. I think as we, remember the public announced last meeting at the public comments, these exemptions are creating more inequities in certain instances. So it's just really complicated. This thing that we've got before us tonight, it's a compromise that attempted to get to something better than we currently have. It's not perfect for sure. I think we need to keep looking at the ordinance. I feel like it's an incremental improvement from what we have as of today, but I know some people feel differently. So we did try to make the fees less than what was initially proposed, while still trying to adhere to the guidance of the lawyer around how we might structure the fees. So yeah, it's just a tricky one. But that's my thoughts. I'll stop babbling.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Councilor Hamlin, go ahead.
Thank you very much. So it was a snowy day, and I just wasn't outside, so I thought I'd look around the internet just to understand this a little bit more. And I appreciate the ordinance committee. You guys have worked on this for a long time, and I appreciate the time and energy you put into it because it's important. But at the same time, it seems to leave Gorham a little out of the loop with other towns. At least I'm not finding other towns have this ordinance in place. I found, looking at the NFPA, National Fire Protection Association today, they suggested almost 6% of the existing fire suppression systems in houses do not work because they need to be looked at on a monthly basis and reviewed on a yearly basis. And many people just don't do the maintenance because it's an additional cost. It costs a lot of money to put a fire suppression system in, and then you have to maintain it. And I know I'm not the best one at maintaining things, and I'm sure other people aren't as well. And then I checked with some insurance people I know, and apparently homeowners companies are out there giving people a 5 to 10% discount on their insurance if they have a fire suppression system in place. However, some have now backed off and they're not doing it at all because weather-related issues. When the polar vortex comes in, these systems seem to freeze up more often than we would expect and cost obviously a lot of money. So I believe in safety. I really want everybody to be safe. I think the smoke detectors and all the code things that have gone on in the last 10 to 20 years have made houses a lot more safe than they used to be. And what I really struggle with this ordinance, or the fee and lieu, or lieu and fee, I'm guessing 99% of the houses in Gorham don't fall under this. So we're asking the people, new houses, to pay for this, but the existing houses not to pay anything. And I just don't understand that. It seemed to be an equity issue. It seems like if this is a fee for additional fire protection, it probably falls under property taxes and it helps everybody, not just the new homes. Because realistically, the new homes are far safer than many of the older homes. So in my mind, yeah, I mean, there's different opinions, absolutely. So I can't support this because I just don't think it's fair to the people building new homes until we find an equitable solution to everybody. And if we have a problem with fire protection, then we need to address that through property taxes because it benefits everybody, just not those new homes going up. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess I'll give my 2 cents. Nobody's going to be surprised because I was the only one here who voted on the original ordinance and I voted no. So this is something that I've looked forward to the discussion, and I appreciate the work that you guys have done. You've gone over every bits and pieces of the whole ordinance. And I think would I like to collect money to give to the fire department and then help that out? I would love to. But I'm not sure this is the way to do it. I am always looking for, it's not a surprise that I'm looking for the exemption for 1 and 2 single-family homes, if we could get that far. And to your point, Councilor Sims, you know, the full repeal of the ordinance does trigger a whole bunch of other things that happened. So I was looking for a step kind of closer to maybe at some point repealing it, but I'm not really supporting, I guess, we didn't really talk about the, maybe we should probably read the amounts, just, you know, so the public can know when we're discussing this. But I think if we could reduce the amounts, if the council does want to approve these fees, then I would be in favor of reducing the amounts. But I'm not in favor of putting this in as it sits. And really, it's only the section B I'm fine with, but section C is what I don't agree with. So if that makes any sense to the rest of the council.
Chair,
yeah.
Thank you very much, Chair. So a couple of points. As the town manager mentioned, we got legal guidance that the in-lieu fee needed to be in the same ballpark as what the actual cost might be, or else it's, you know, easily challenged. And so we wanted to be as close in that ballpark while also, truthfully, based on what it seemed like from the numbers, working on the lower end from what we were told and we're hearing. So that's the part about the fee. Me specifically, I don't want us to just remove it entirely without some kind of, well, hold on, let me actually take us back to a different point. This is only going to impact roughly, I think, 25 houses a year in Gorham. Almost all of the houses that are built in Gorham trigger subdivision. So this is actually going in place for just, yeah, a very small group of people. Now that being said, what I am afraid of is removing the requirement, removing the fee, and, well, housing prices staying the exact same, and then there's just more profit to be made. I mean, everyone will tell me that this could lower housing prices, but I ain't seen it yet. I ain't seen any of the things that have suggested this will lower housing prices to actually bring them down. So I don't want the town to be the one holding the bag in the end. I truthfully, I brought this up at committee, so I'm speaking, you know, as myself and not as chair of the committee, but I'm okay with us just removing the requirement for single-family homes and duplexes, and then having the in-lieu fee for subdivisions as an option, and then having other additional requirements. If we did that, you know, looking at the amount of subdivision houses that were built over the past few years, that would pay for the new fire truck that we voted on 1 to 2 years ago. So we do need this money in regards to fire protection. Yeah, and then lastly, I guess I'll just say that as a few people have noted here, like if we remove it, there are a bunch of other pieces that will have to be adjusted. Yeah, so it's more complicated than just taking it away.
Councilor Willis, go ahead.
Good to go. I want to echo Councilor Hamlin's thoughts. I really appreciate the work that the ordinance committee did. I watched all your meetings. It's a ton of work, a ton of time. That being said, I don't like the fees. I think it trivializes the safety aspect of the original ordinance change, that sort of the message that we're sending with it is we're okay with this not being safe if you just give us some money. We'll keep moving. So I don't like that message that we're sending out there. In terms of the profit piece, and I don't mean to start a back and forth on that specific item, but I think a lot of these, to Councilor Siegel's point, you're right, it's not a huge number. We're not talking about necessarily doing it for subdivisions, but if I approach a builder and I'm going to build on a specific piece of land and I'm itemizing those costs, that's a real cost of $15,000 or $20,000 for a sprinkler system. So if that's removed from that, it is removed from the cost of the consumer, of the person that's buying or building the house. And if it's left in, it makes it cheaper to build the same house in a different neighboring town. You go to some of these neighboring communities, you can build the same house on an equivalent price lot for less money than what you can do it in Gorham. So I would be supportive of looking at pulling this all the way back. I know that, we'd need to talk about how we do that and procedurally what that means, but I would be on board with that. And if we're not going to do that, I do have some questions specific to what's in here in terms of gross square footage versus finished square footage and the fee structure and all of those things, but I don't want to get in the weeds there if that's not the direction that we're headed.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, we
I
do
just
that.
want to make sure we hear from everybody first. Anybody else?
So I'd like So, I'd like to make a suggestion with looking at town manager that we actually move forward with B, but then send C back. So the slight adjustments to the exemptions, and then send the rest of it back to ordinance to look at what it would look like to remove the requirement.
Do we have to divide the question? Is that what you'd like us to do? I mean, I don't know. Or do you under?
Thank you, Madam Chair. What I would do, and I'm going to look for maybe a nod from the Community Development Director, is amend the order to strike the piece that you don't want to move forward with. So basically, you're talking about the ADU. Leave that in there, right?
Yeah.
Well, I see what
Yeah, these two pieces
So
right here.
basically leave the ADU component.
And the detached, whatever this.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Which there is a typo in there that we'll have to fix. Strike that, include it in your motion to send the remainder back to the ordinance committee, but I would give very specific directions or very specific guidance to the ordinance committee, because I think to all the councilors' points, this can go 50 different directions, and when you pull on one string, another part unravels elsewhere in the ordinances, so it gets complicated very
So
quickly.
you want us to not approve B? Is that what you're saying? Because B has additional language that's underlined here. It's 1 and 2. So if we wanted to approve 2, that's why I asked if you wanted to divide the question.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood
Okay.
the question. If you want to just leave B1, the tiny homes in there?
What about 2?
no,
You want 2 in there too, as well.
So whatever you're not looking for, just strike it in an amendment, and then also in that amendment, send the remaining balance that you've struck back to the ordinance committee to work on.
So just
so-
it's a point of order here.
Yeah.
We're suggesting that we are going to separate this, or we're going to strike C.
From C onward.
And then we're going to.
Nope, so what he's saying is strike B and send C back to the ordinance committee.
No, not strike.
I don't think that's.
You want to forward the other?
Let me rephrase. So if the council wants to keep part of this in,
Yeah.
and pass it this evening, strike everything else you don't want,
Okay.
and send that conversation of the stuff that's been struck back to the
Okay,
ordinance
that's
committee
what I
to
want
work
to
on.
make sure. Okay.
I would like to make a motion for an amendment to strike from C, fee in lieu of sprinkler slash suppression system onward to the end, and send that part of the motion back to the ordinance committee for us to look at in regards to fully removing the sprinkler ordinance.
Just a point of order on that.
Yeah.
So what you're proposing is, for section B, we would be, from what exists today, which is, we approved something a couple months ago,
Yeah.
an exemption for gift lots. We're now going to strike the exemption for gift lots. And we're going to add the section 2 that's underlined that says detached residential structures or structures added to sprinkled single-family homes under 800 square feet of gross floor area shall be exempt from the requirements of this article. We're going to leave that part in.
Thank you. So if anything is pressing in here that you want tonight, we can go through this, or you just send the whole thing back to the
I think
ordinance
it might be
committee.
easier to just, I think it might just easier to send the whole thing back. Because it's,
Out of his seat,
yeah.
so if you...
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like, this
Go
is
ahead,
getting a
Tom.
little complicated.
Very complicated.
So I just wanted to let the council aware, the code officer has received comments from a number of builders that would come under the fee in lieu of holding off finishing projects, waiting to pay the fee. So I'm just saying, like, if you guys kick it back, they're probably going to have to sprinkle, but if you're looking to remove them, my recommendation is you keep the in lieu fee language, make a motion that you're going to look at removing the rest of the sprinkler ordinance. Then the builders have something they can do in the short term as you work through it, because this is not going to be a quick process to get through, because we're going to have to amend the land use code to deal with subdivision. It's going to be a complex project. The other part is, if it's the fee you're looking at, that's something I think you could send to the finance committee and look through the fees and then adjust that to what you think is appropriate. So I just want to let you know, we do have builders waiting and holding off on development on the in lieu fee.
Madam Chair, a question through you to town manager and staff here. So it sounds like we have builders who are eager to pay the fee as an option, relative to the current option they have today. It sounds like they're generally looking forward to this, at least some sort of resolution, so they have some clarity.
I don't want to speak for the developers. I think they're looking for options.
Right.
Well, I think there are a couple that are, it's single family. So that's, kind of how we got to where we are right now. I think there's 4 of them, I believe. So they're waiting for some clarification on just this part. So I'm willing to send it back, but with leave the fee structure as it is, and we will work around it.
Yeah.
Or through it.
Just a comment on that. I mean, I think there's a lot of fair comments that have been made here. There's good points. Again, I think I'm generally of the mind that I would be in favor of just eliminating the ordinance completely in a planned manner, so like we can address things that are going to have to be addressed in the land use code. Folks can start to plan for it. But I do think, just like I said, we've got, I guess if we bring it back to the committee again, are we going to be able to talk about it next Monday? The next ordinance committee meeting is like 3 days from now, or like 6 days from now. So we're going to be able to get it on that agenda and then bring it back the next month. We're going to keep people in limbo here. How long are we going to keep them in limbo? Again, I know that what we've proposed here isn't perfect, but it's like, it sounds like there's some builders who are thinking that it's better than the current option. So I don't know. It's just a tough one. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And the one thing I don't know if we've touched on it that we probably should identify is, because the council can amend an ordinance a little bit after it's been had a public hearing, you can't go in a totally different direction, because we have to advertise that that's the standard we have to meet. So even if you wanted to this evening to strike, large sections of the ordinance, it has to be advertised first. So I just want to make that clear. for anybody watching. That's why you're just going from point A to point B to point C. We have to take those public steps.
Right.
Okay, Counselor Kush, she hasn't had a word yet, so.
Thank you. I guess I would just like to point out, we don't happen to have, I know we work through the town manager with town staff. I'm not sure when the sprinkler ordinance passed, but I've listened to at least 2 fire chiefs talk about safety issues and the combustibility and the air quality of a fire. And so I feel like we've only got kind of half of the picture here. And I feel like I want to support this as a middle step and then see what happens after that.
Okay, Counselor Hamblin, did you?
Just a question, if we move forward with it in lieu of fees, and then we change it a month or 2 from now, could we reimburse it to the builders?
Because it doesn't take effect, right?
I mean, because we want to add clarity, we want people to move ahead.
Right.
I've never heard of that being done. I also think it might muddy the waters. So I suspect, now I'm just playing this out, that if the council as a whole wants to make major changes to the ordinance based on the time that the committee has already spent on this, this will take a while. If the council wants to move forward as a stopgap measure and or just something to explore this evening with the suggestion that maybe we have some developers waiting to take advantage of it, you might want to look at the fee structure if you're going to adopt it, see if that works for you. And again, I guess the other alternative is if you don't want to move forward with any changes this evening, you could send it back to the ordinance committee. So again, just trying to steer the conversation towards some options available to you.
So just a point of order question there. So that let's play out a scenario where we approve this tonight. We can have a little bit of at least short-term clarity for people that are trying to get a house built, this spring and summer. And then we could, within this current cycle, we could bring another motion forward at the May meeting. It wouldn't be the exact same as the one that led us down this path a few meetings ago, but it could be some other review of the sprinkler ordinance. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that might be the way to do this. I think that, I think we're all in agreement that we're not 100% satisfied with this. But it seems like there's not a perfect option here. So I think maybe we say yes to this tonight and we come back with another item in May that we go back to work on this thing that will just, until we repeal it, we will just keep talking about it at every single ordinance committee meeting. So,
Well, and I think,
Yeah, go ahead.
I think we have kind of a general idea of what everybody kind of wants now, here, after this conversation. So, I think it would be a little bit easier. I was coming in blind, and we got this far. So I think with everybody's information, the public's information, Chief Fickett's information, I think we can make an informed decision, May, June, leave this, but go into May or June with it.
So you made an amendment, Counselor Siegel, so.
Noting that, I'll withdraw that amendment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There is one typo, and when you actually think about it, it makes sense that we missed it. So on B2, detached residential structures or structures added to sprinkled single-family homes under this are exempted. I believe it should, and the fire chief brought this to my attention, it should read added to non-sprinkled single-family homes. So essentially being, you don't, in concept, if you have a sprinkled home already, you don't want to add a significant structure that's not sprinkled because it'll defeat the sprinkler system of the existing home, if that makes sense.
Sorry, is this a Scribner's error, or should we make an amendment? Is this
Changes the definition.
Providing the council's okay with it, but again, the concept being you have a sprinkled existing home, you add 800 square feet to it, you now have a major section of that building that is not sprinkled. But again, it's at the discretion of the council. The fire chief brought it to my attention. I'm not sure if it was the intention of the committee.
I guess I'll start this as a point of order. Another option would be to simply remove the word sprinkled before single-family home, and then it would be more broad of an exemption. So it would just say detached residential structures or structures added to single-family homes underscore, and I think actually we might need to, so the way you could read that, okay, so if I've got a single-family home that's under 800 square feet of gross floor area, if I'm adding to an existing single-family home that's 800 square feet, under 800 square feet, that's not what we're saying here. What we're saying is if the addition is 800 square feet or under 800 square feet. So I think we might actually, I think we're gonna have to amend that just for clarity's sake, because it's a little complicated. So let me make can I make a suggested amendment to this? I'm going to make a motion for an amendment to Section 2, Section B, exemptions, Part 2. So I would propose that we rewrite it to say, detached residential structures detached residential structures under 800 square feet of gross floor area shall be exempt from the requirements of this article. I think we're just going to keep it as simple as that. That's what I would say.
I'm going to ask the town manager, is that?
Thank you. I think that'll work because if you had an existing single-family home that's not sprinkled, it's not going to trigger the sprinkler system ordinance. Adding 800 square feet, so that should be.
So I'll read that one more time just for clarity. So I'm making a motion to amend this section B2 to say detached residential structures under 800 square feet of gross floor area shall be exempt from the requirements of this article. Fire suppression systems. That's my motion.
All right. Is there a second?
Second this
Yep,
here.
second by Councilor
For
Siegel.
discussion.
Yep.
Just to repeat an additional time. Detached residential structures under 800 square feet of gross floor area?
Yeah.
Shall be exempted, okay. Through to the town manager, are there other rules that exist that explain what would happen with attached structures?
Thank you. I believe in the ordinance, I'm going off of memory, if you have a single-family home, there is a high threshold for if it's non-sprinkled to sprinkle the entire building based on that. 800 square feet addition on like a colonial is not going to trigger it. 800 square feet on, it's a very high threshold. I think there would be very few scenarios that would ever trigger it. Sprinkling a non-sprinkled house when you build the addition.
Right, okay. But do we still have stipulations that if we remove the or structure added to part, if you add 800 square feet to a sprinkled single-family home, would you need to sprinkle it?
The expectation would be it would be sprinkled.
Do we have that written somewhere else?
Yes, I believe we do in the ordinance. I can confirm that, but I believe we do. I'm looking for a nod from my resident expert.
I see the nod. Okay.
All right, so we're talking about the amendment that Councilor Sims read. Any other questions or comments on the amendment? Go ahead.
That would be just B. C is going to be.
We're just, the amendment is, no? No, we're just talking about the language that Councilor Sims. And then we'll go back to the whole piece afterwards, and we'll still vote on the whole piece after. All right, so on the amendment, all those in favor? 7 yeas. All right, and now the item as amended. Any more discussion?
A question, maybe for Director Poyer, if he's willing to answer it, but maybe through the town manager. We talk about things that would need to get changed in land use code and at the town level if it was a full repeal, as has been discussed. This feels like repealing it, except we would get some money. what would need to change in the land use code if we repealed it and we weren't getting a fee that doesn't change by getting a fee?
Thank you. So Gorham's had a fire suppression ordinance since 1987. Prior to this last major overhaul of the ordinance where 1 and 2 family homes were added back in 2018-ish, there was a requirement for subdivisions that were a certain distance away from a public water supply to be either sprinkled or provide a public water supply. That's where you get into the fire pond thing or sprinkler system, and where the council, I think where we had the discussion with council about we want to steer clear of fire ponds and maybe do cisterns and things where that are lower maintenance and lower costs in the long term. Things like that, I think the council would have to look at, because if you just rolled back the ordinance and just deleted the whole thing, there wouldn't be any requirements in the land use and development code for fire suppression of any type beyond water main extension for subdivisions. Also, another thing that the council reduced the requirement or compromise back when the ordinance was amended was reducing the distance between hydrants, which if we can get away with it, we have to pay a rental fee on every one of the hydrants every year, and costs us like over $100,000 a year right now. So that was something the council looked at as well. Thank you.
So, sorry, to follow up to that, if we approved this tonight, those changes would not have to be made?
Thank you. I think that was the rationale of the ordinance committee, now speaking for the ordinance committee, that 1 and 2 family homes not in subdivisions did not represent the vast majority of homes currently proposed or being built in Gorham, and that the added benefit from the in lieu fee might help offset things like a tank truck purchase or whatever the case is in the long run. I think that was the rationale.
I'll just ask my final question if we're moving in and talking about this. In terms of the square footage calculations, it talks about like 3,000 square feet gross square footage. We're talking about gross square footage there, not finished square footage, correct? So you might have a 1,400 square foot house with a 2-car garage and a basement that's over 3,000 square feet gross square footage. Okay.
I can just add to, I can just, that came up at the committee, and from what we can tell, everything else is based off of gross. So we didn't want one thing being different, was I think kind of just why we went with gross, yeah.
One more question, sorry. It's confusing, extremely confusing. I appreciate you spending the time to educate us. So if we move forward with this, with the one change in B, it would put in place in lieu of fees?
Yeah.
So that for certain instances, people wouldn't have to put a sprinkler system in. They could pay the fee, which is substantially lower cost, right? And it would add clarity to people trying to build right now so that they can move forward while we continue to work through this internally in the ordinances.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep. Do you have any other? Nope. Okay, I just want to make sure.
If
Go
I
ahead,
could
Councilor
just
Sims.
one
Yep.
more comment for the path forward. I think the way I'd like to see it approached is just given that this existing ordinance has been built on time and time again, and there's just a whole lot to it. I think one way to try to do it would be, maybe this will be the next motion, but the next meeting, but just let's say that we want to give direction to the town that we want to have this existing sprinkler ordinance removed by the end of the year or something. And that gives us time to, okay, we want to address the aspects of this. What are the other things that we absolutely need to put in place before that happens to make sure we're, doing this in a responsible manner? I think that's the approach that I'd like to do. That seems like the approach that would make sense, and it would give us a impetus to figure this thing out and be done with it. It's my experience here over the last 2 years is just trying to tinker with the existing ordinance. We're kind of running around in circles here. So.
Yeah, I would just say that when I say I'm looking to, obviously dial it back, that's meaning the most the most recent aggressive change, I guess. I wouldn't want to completely get rid of it. I'd like to go back to what it was prior to just requiring all new construction, single-family homes, but understanding that the fire pond situation and things. So my suggestion, Councilor Sims, you had a good suggestion, would be if we're looking to repeal the most recent major change that we made, in concert with that, we need to update what was in place, the distance from, the fire ponds, the water sources, and all that kind of stuff. So those two things would need to happen, I guess, would be my suggestion. So, any other comments, questions?
Do we need a timeline on what we're doing here? Or, that we make this change and it's there in perpetuity unless we change it in the future?
Right, it goes, yeah.
And everybody's comfortable with that?
Like everything else.
30
Yep.
days, at 30 days' time, right? Takes effect.
30, yeah, it takes effect in 30 days, yep. All right. All those in favor? 6 yeas, all those opposed? Phillips.
Item 2026, 4-3, action to consider appointing election workers for a 2-year term for 2026 to 2028, administrative sponsored. Proposed Order 26-40, order that the Town Council appoint the following people as election workers per Title 21A MRSA Section 503 with terms to expire April 1st of 2008.
I'd make a motion to waive the reading due to the length.
Second.
All right. All those in favor of waiving the reading? 7 yeas.
Sorry, Chair.
Yes.
I did not vote for that.
Oh, okay, sorry. I looked over and thought I saw your hand. All right. 1 nay. All those opposed, go ahead. Here you go. Siegel. Is there a motion for the item?
So moved.
Second. Second by Councilor Kush. And just so everyone knows, the only thing we waived the reading of was the names of the election workers to save Lori trying to pronounce everyone's name. But we thank all the election workers every year that do all this hard work. So thank you very much. Any discussion?
This came up at, well, thank you. This came up at the appointments committee. To anyone watching, if you'd like to help out in town and you have the free time, please reach out to the town clerk about being an election worker. If it's something if you're really passionate about elections, we are always needing help in that regard. So that's all. Please consider it.
Thank you. All right. All those in favor? 7 yeas.
Item 2026, 4-4, action to consider authorizing the transfer of $5,000 to the Gorham Action Team for Youth from opioid settlement funds. Councilor Simmons sponsored. Proposed Order 2641, order that the Town Council authorize the Town Manager to transfer $5,000 to the Gorham Action Team for Youth from opioid settlement funds to support prevention efforts to reduce substance abuse and worsen mental health for the youth.
Is there a motion? Motion by Councilor Sims. Is there a second? Second. Second by Councilor Kush. This is pretty self-explanatory, but if you would like to say something, and then we can open it for public comment if anybody wants to talk.
Sure, no, we've got Eilish and Brooke here. They've sat through 2 hours of meetings tonight. I appreciate that. It just shows their commitment to this cause. And my gosh, this is just the tip of the iceberg. I've been to a lot of these meetings. It's a great group of volunteers. They're really committed to the community and the kids. It's a pretty modest amount of funding. It's opioid settlement funds, so it's not even influencing the mill rate. So enthusiastically support this one.
Thank you. All right, and now if anybody wants to come up and speak on this, please come up and let us know who you are again.
Hi, again. Thank you. My name is Eilish Carpenter, and I'm here in my role with Cumberland County Public Health as a substance use prevention specialist, speaking in regard to this action today. In my role, I work with municipalities, school districts, and communities across Cumberland County to reduce risk for youth substance use by improving the community conditions young people experience. I've worked with Gaddy since the fall of 2023, consulting on the group's prevention strategies, and in the last year, I supported their efforts on better understanding the local conditions in Gorham and help them align prevention strategies that are culturally relevant and serve the needs of young people and families that live here. In my role as a state-funded employee, I'm not here to speak for or against the funding, but to share my experience working with Gaddy and knowledge of evidence-based quality prevention. Since working with Gaddy, I have seen and supported the coalition to grow from a handful of mostly school staff to a group of over 25 that includes students, parents, representation from local faith-based organizations, volunteer organizations, business organizations, and more. As the group grows, the capacity for quality prevention has increased, and the group is ready and excited to contribute to strategies that include more family engagement and youth engagement in prevention. Already, the group has supported an assessment of the school's mental and behavioral health support systems to best serve the needs of students. And Gaddy has detailed plans for the summer and next school year, including an updated resource guide for families in Gorham, branding and wider communications about prevention to the community, bringing together families in Gorham for community meals and educational opportunities, and supporting our high school youth to work on a project focusing on accessible transportation. The work of this volunteer-led coalition is invaluable. We know that coalitions like Gaddy, with multi-sector representation and a focus on community and systems building, have been shown to be effective at reducing substance use in the communities that they serve. In my view, Gaddy is prepared to engage in quality prevention strategies that address community conditions and will continue to support and uplift the well-being of young people here in Gorham. And I'm excited to continue to support this work and to see how outcomes change here given their great efforts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of the Town Council. My name is Kelly DeVoe. I am a resident, a parent, a lifelong educator. I'm also a founding member of a substance use prevention coalition right next door in Wyndham. I'm here tonight to respectfully urge you to allocate $5,000 of Gorham's Opioid Settlement Fund to the Gorham Action Team for Youth, known as Gaddy, a volunteer organization of which I've been a member for many, many years. Gorham has received $351,000 in opioid settlement funds thus far, funds that came directly from the harm caused to communities like ours by the opioid epidemic. Those resources carry a responsibility to be spent in ways that meaningfully address the harm, both today and for generations to come. Every resource provided by the Maine Attorney General's Office on Best Practices and Evidence-Based Spending of Opioid Settlement Funds includes prevention work. The Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, the National Association of Counties, and others all point to the same conclusion. Prevention is not optional, it's foundational. Gaddy is Gorham's only comprehensive interagency organization working collaboratively to address substance use prevention for our youth. Gaddy brings together schools, law enforcement, healthcare, faith communities, families, and town government, crossing sectors, agencies, and organizations to build a real safety net for the young people in this town. Their goal is straightforward. It is to help Gorham's youth grow up to be healthy adults in our community. I want to be clear, funding a response position with the police department is a commendable and appropriate use of these settlement funds, but the response alone is not enough. The opioid crisis was not caused by a failure of response. It was fed in large part by a failure of prevention. We cannot arrest or treat our way out of this problem. We must invest in keeping young people from entering that pipeline in the first place. This is not a school issue. This is not a police issue. This is a community issue, and it demands a community response. Other towns across Maine have long recognized this and funded organizations like Gaddy as a core part of their opioid strategy. Gorham should do the same. $5,000, that's roughly 1.4% of the funds Gorham has received, directed to Gaddy would support education, prevention programming, and community coordination that no single agency in this town can provide on its own. It would signal that Gorham is committed not just to responding to the crisis, but from preventing the next one. I urge the council to allocate $5,000 to the Opioid Settlement Fund to the Gorham Action Team for Youth. It is a modest investment with meaningful and lasting impact. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your service to our community.
Thank you. All right. I would actually like to suggest that someone make a motion to increase the amount to $7,500. All right.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Sims. Is there a second? Second by Counselor Willis. Is that okay with you? Okay, just making sure. All right. Any discussion on this, or? All right. All those in favor? 7 yeas. Oh, all right. Now we'll vote with the item as amended to $7,500. All those in favor? 7 yeas.
Item 2026, 4-5, action to consider allowing for an exemption of transfer overlay density bonus fees within a quarter mile of the Husky Line bus stop in the Gorham Village. Councilor Sims sponsored. Proposed Order 26-42, order that the Town Council forwards to the Ordinance Committee for review and recommendation, providing for an exemption of transfer overlay district density bonus fees within 0.25 miles of the existing Husky Line bus stop in the Gorham Village.
Is there a motion? Motion by Counselor Sims. Is there a second? Second by Counselor Hamblin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Don't want to drag this out longer than we need to, but certainly happy to discuss as much as folks want to. The goal of this is to help us better preserve our open spaces while also generating more net positive property tax revenues, with the goal, trying to help us offset the rising costs that are coming. The good news is there are proven ways to achieve both these goals at the same time. Allowing more housing within close proximity to the bus stops, that's really the best way to increase bus ridership. If you build apartments near a bus stop, you'll find that the people who are interested in living in those apartments are the type of folks who might want to ride a bus instead of owning a car. That is the thinking here. I think at kind of a higher level, there's probably some deeper conversations we could have here about what the underlying zoning is along the Husky Line. And honestly, even this, I think the way the transfer overlay density bonus is kind of arranged. Certainly, I support the concept of using town dollars to help preserve open space. But I think the way we do it's kind of backwards, because we charge a fee to the type of housing density that would actually help us avoid pushing the housing development onto the open space. So it would strike me that the transfer fee should be set up such that homes that are getting built out encroaching upon the open space, those are the ones that should be paying the fee. And the ones that are getting built in and around the village, which are actually helping us preserve the open space, we shouldn't be charging them fees to do that. We should be encouraging that. So that's the mentality here. I think we can take it to the Ordinance Committee and look at how to actually go about doing that in a way that doesn't, I certainly don't want to undermine the account there that we're getting funds to help, a Presumpscot Land Trust or whatever entity it might be trying to purchase some land to preserve it. I certainly want to keep encouraging those efforts, but this struck me as one approach that we could potentially take in the relatively near term to try to move the levers a little bit and see what happens.
Any questions, comments?
I had a discussion today with Counselor Sims, and I'll just say it out loud so that we've talked about it. I have a suggestion about a workshop around the transfer overlay district that, I think if people choose to send this ordinance, great. I think it does serve a real role in sort of our long-term, larger community planning, and think it may be something that I know in the last year and a half we haven't talked a whole lot about, and with new council members and more new council members, it may be something that would be worth sitting around a table and having a better understanding of. So what I know of it, I support the goals of it, and it's why if this is the way that it is right now tonight, I would vote against this, but I do fully understand what is trying to be achieved and support the idea of higher density in these areas. I just want to take a good look at, what we're doing, why we're doing it, instead of having to go to ordinance, bounce back here, and four of us haven't spent the time talking about it the way that the ordinance committee and those three members have.
Point of order, could we amend it in some way to say that we want to do a workshop and then kind of concurrently, we could go ahead and put it on the queue for the ordinance committee? Could we do it like that? Because I think that's, the sprinkler ordinance being a prime example here. Three of us go to town on this relatively complicated matter, and then the four of you, the other four, we're kind of in the dark to some degree, and maybe we kind of went off on a little bit of a tangent from what was there before. So I don't know if maybe we could do that somehow. We could be like, hey, what we've got here in the agenda, and then maybe add to that, between the time that before we go to ordinance committee, we have a workshop on. I think it would probably be along the lines of a workshop around the transfer overlay district and our approach to preserving open space. Would that generally make sense?
The town manager is writing something, but I'm just thinking if we add in some language that says action to consider allowing for a town council workshop on the transfer overlay district and fees information, and and then the rest of the item is, sending the exemption to the ordinance committee, I guess. Does that make sense? Go ahead. You like you were writing.
Thank you. So depending on how quickly the council wants to move on this item, and the person I need the information from is lurking in the hallway.
Oh, here it comes.
We do have a recreation and open space master planning process that may tie into a decent workshop. And this could also be a conversation. I think that's what you're trying to get at, is the priorities on that. I just don't know what the timing of that is.
Okay, so Tom, we have a question. Just the timing of the...
What's the timing of the open space and recreation master planning process? If the council wanted to have a workshop on to include talking about open space priorities and preservation with the transfer overlay district is one of those topics.
So the open space development is done by the committee. All they needed to do is just tweak some pictures that they wanted changed, and then something with the implementation schedule. So we're working with the consultant just to finalize that, and then once that's done, it'll be ready for a workshop. So are you thinking this month or next month?
Yeah, either one.
Yeah, that's fine. He'll be ready.
Okay. So, what did you?
So are we making an official amendment there?
I think
to recognize
I
that,
think
or do we need? We're just recognizing that. That's cool.
You can make an amendment if you want to, or I can bring back an item at the next council meeting to schedule a workshop on this subject, as well as the presentation on the open space and recreation master plan.
Yeah, I'm good either way. Whatever people are comfortable with. I'm not in a huge rush to get this on next. We're not going to talk about it on Monday, so
Right, and I guess even if it's in the queue for the ordinance committee.
Right, it's not like we're going to talk about it next week. We've got a couple things in there.
Right. What was your suggestion for the ordinance committee?
I was wondering if this should go to economic development and capital improvements instead.
Oh, well, we could do that.
I just, knowing the ordinance committee's docket.
Because this is an actual, okay, I see what you're saying. Well, the actual exemption is in the ordinance, correct? Is
Right,
that
that's
why
the
it went to
problem.
ordinance? Okay.
But other committees can look at things.
Could the ordinance committee somehow? Sorry, point of order question here. Could the ordinance committee somehow? What's the word I'm looking for? when you give somebody else a duty, what is that called? Delegate, I think, yeah, that was the word I was seeking, yeah. Can we somehow say that? I mean, that doesn't work with council rules. Can ordinance committee say, hey, this will be a relatively straightforward ordinance change?
Your rules, your committees, you can basically do what you want, but I think that being said, if one committee is overworked, you could pass an item on to another committee with clear expectations of what you're looking for. But I do think that this is a conversation I've had with some councilors in the chair about having some more workshops just to get people up to speed and talk about we have a lot going on that we're not necessarily talking about in this forum because it's a 2 to 3 hour meeting tops.
Right.
So however you want to do it, send it to whatever committee, and I'm happy to bring back the language for your next meeting for the workshop. We can pick a date and plan it out.
Yeah, good idea.
I'd like to make an amendment that instead forwards this item to economic development / capital improvements.
Which won't be meeting next until May 16th, so it works out.
All right, is there a second to the amendment to change it to the Capital Improvements Committee?
Yeah, I'll make that.
All right, second by Counselor Sims. All those in favor of the amendment? 7 yeas. All right, and the item as amended, and with Ephraim bringing back a workshop item next month. Any other discussion on the item as amended?
I guess my only question is from timing. I mean, I still sort of wonder if we need to even move this forward right now, if it makes sense to have the discussion at the workshop level first, and then come out of that and still see if you still feel the same way.
I think we could well, just a suggestion there. We can definitely hold off on putting it on a committee meeting until we've had the workshop. I think, would that be a fair way to do
Yeah,
it?
that's up to the committee to decide when they want to discuss it.
That's
So,
fine.
Yep, okay.
Yep.
Go ahead.
My only point of suggestion for this motion, it mentions within a quarter mile of the existing Husky bus stop in the Gorham Village. We might just want to consider looking at the line. This is just a recommendation for committee because stops along the line might change with time. So not basing it off of existing stops, but that's just feedback for the committee.
All right. All those in favor? 6 yeas. All those opposed? Phillips. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second by Counselor Sims. All those in favor? 7 yeas. Thank you very much.
Thank you.